There, Mick. Now the
Oh my God. That's what happens when you lose against the fridge.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Were we podcasting? Oh, shit, it's today, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is Saturday, Mick. So that means another episode of Rabbit Hole.
Oh, God. Really?
Yep.
Rabbits.
So we have a guest. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dave the Clone from the Hollow Knight Network.
Ah, there. Now, is it clone or it's a clown?
No, it's clone, but it's
K.
taking the Killer Clown's spelling with the K for sure.
I get it.
Good on you for being like literally the first person to ever guess that. You have version 1.0. The original copy is here tonight. The rest of them are running around doing all the other shit to keep the network going.
Well, and by network, and that was you were recommended by Drew Carson.
That's how networking works, which is awesome. So, thanks to Drew for making this happen, man. He's a real cool dude. He's a good friend.
Oh, Drew is awesome.
Yeah.
Do anything for that guy. The nicest
He made
guy.
us famous in Scotland.
He made us famous in Scotland.
I think if I have any traction in Scotland, it's got to be for the same reason. Because he used to run some of our stuff on Radio Havermate, rest in peace. But I know some stuff is going to happen, man. Drew's not down for the count.
He doesn't. He's coming. You know what? He's going to come out of COVID twice.
Oh, dude, can you believe it, man?
Oh, fuck.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you.
He's a fighter in every sense of the word, man. He's an MMA fighter, and he's battling the current global pandemic, has stepped into his home, and he's been like, fuck you. So
I've had enough of this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. So I kind of brought you on under his recommendation because I kind of was curious about like what your network is and
the other podcast people, like the episode's name. The other podcast people.
We're out there. We're out there.
Because
some of us.
Sometimes I'm part of a podcast network, or was it always?
For the Hollow Nine, it was always intended to be a network, kind of like in the sense of a cable network, like a channel you'd switch to on cable, and it would have a myriad of things going on. And so this is part of me aging myself, I guess, for the Zennials out there listening. It very much took a cue from the movie UHF, the Weird Al Yankovic movie where he inherits a TV station.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And it was sort of like I got my first G5 iMac, and when I opened GarageBand, I'm like, you're shitting me. All this stuff is in here where we could basically just kind of sit here and make up little sketches. And we kind of, a couple of my friends and I used to like sit around and smoke a lot of pot and just kind of come up with these crazy ideas for like characters, and they became these little stories that then start to stretch into multiple episodes. And then that would be like the first couple minutes, and the rest of it would be us talking about what we watched on. This was at the time that Sopranos was still on HBO. So yeah, man, exactly. Well, I was actually more of like the Easter when that guy came out as gay and it rocked everybody's world on that show.
My favorite scene is from the first season, is whenever the grandma doesn't show up and Tony Jr. comes out and he goes, "So what? No fucking ziti?"
Oh, I love that. The Italian O from the back of the room, right? Like we don't have to actually have words for whatever's going on. There could be like a family dispute just erupts in front of you, right? The holidays, and some kid just finally has his moment where today's the day I'm dropping an F-bomb at home, and you just sit in the back, go, "Oh!" And then everybody stops and looks.
That's right.
The Tony Soprano, the famous, oh man, may he rest in peace, Gandolfini.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
Just watched like the first 6 or 7 episodes of season 1 because I was, when you're kind of done binging stuff and you're like, hey, HBO, I have this. I might as well see
that's right.
Sopranos, man. I haven't watched that shit in forever. And it's like going back to it, I'm suddenly, I always know that seasons 1 and 2 were amazing. So I'm kind of preparing myself mentally for when I get to 3 and 4, it starts to peter out.
To me, the actual most amazing one was the opener. I mean, the first episode, the pilot. Usually pilots are it works in. It works into the show, but the whole bit with him on the campus, tracking that guy down.
Oh man, yeah, the episode when and the daughter totally at that point knows, like she admits that she knows what's up, right? So
right.
you start thinking about shit. What would this be like having kids, and one of them knows that you're full on a mobster, the other one's just like, oh no, dad works in waste management. It's like, yeah, idiot. What do you think that means?
What do you think waste management is? Yeah,
you see a lot of shit flowing around here. We live in a mansion.
I love that. Later on, his wife is always. You're always like on the fence as to what she totally knows, right? But then like when it gets in the last few episodes and they all have to hit the mattresses, sort of, and she's going around the house like pulling guns down, pulling guns out of the attic and pulling guns out of like all these hidden places and stuff, and you go, okay, there you go, yeah.
It's funny. They tried to have that same effect in Breaking Bad with his wife, you know what I mean? But it actually went the other way. You didn't feel good about his wife. You're always like, man, look at this bitch is pulling more shit on this guy. Like, my God, you made him a meth guy in the first place, and now you're pushing him even. What do you want from the dude? Always put those two shows on either side of a scale and see how they balance out.
Yeah, there you go. So, the first thing I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure that TJ's got a lot more, but I wanted to ask you, in what ways is our network better than yours?
Well, it probably has a huge audience that tunes in regularly. So there's that.
I don't think that TJ, because I told TJ, well, that's going to be my first question. He was like, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I mean, our network, really plays fast and loose with the word network. There was a point in time where our programming was separated out onto individual feeds. And at one point we had like 30 feeds going. But that gets a little hard to sustain. And then, there's always kind of politics that pop up when you have a group of people as big as our group got. And then once that started to kind of fall away, we started as a mega feed, which is my original sort of vision. That's what we call having the single feed with multiple types of shows. And the approach we go through now is it's always in batches, like, 6 to 8 episodes of one type of show, and then maybe 4 episodes of something we're trying, another 6 to 8 back to the movie reviews or the interview show, and so now Dojo 9, which is our Cobra Kai podcast, is kind of the main one being featured over there. And we've now ventured into having content on Anchor FM as well. So we're developing a new form of our network, so to say, by having multiple feeds from multiple different platforms and just having the name in a couple different pools. But the idea is to go back to having sort of a central website as an umbrella with multiple feeds going out. So you could choose to just tune into what you want. But we feel like we also have a lot of stuff that there's a little bit of something for everyone. So tune into the mega feed, listen to what you want, and don't listen to what you don't want, like the old days, like cable used to be. So
how many shows are on the network?
Right now we have 4 shows, including the new Dojo 9. We have our Spotlight interview show. We have our What Am I Watching podcast, which is our sort of movie review, and then kind of op-ed. We kind of look at ourselves as like a Rolling Stone for the Zennial generation, but not quite totally just social media. It's like, we want to include blogs. We want there to be some print. Right now it's mostly audio, and the video is much more of like a support and promotional component.
Yes,
but there are some ideas going into maybe doing some video stuff. It's just that's where it gets really expensive and even more time consuming. Audio, I love playing with everybody's imagination as the movie camera, because that's the best special effects we'll ever be able to not pay for,
Yeah, most of our success we find with the audio stuff, and like you said, the video stuff is more helpful for marketing stuff and a lot easier for people to as like an intro to our content. Especially the way with modern social media is modern marketing as a whole, that it's easier to throw a video up and people will actually watch that rather than read a post or even look at a picture half the time, because it's easier to scroll past something. But if it's playing and you hear audio, you're more likely to stop.
So it's like this show. You come for Fat Jesus' beautiful face.
Yeah. You have a bag of Skittles in your pouch. Right.
and you stay for the ridiculous things we say.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why one of our most popular episodes, Mick, it's probably about a giant penis.
Probably. We're still questioning that. We really are.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Dick and fart jokes sell a lot of tickets to a lot of things.
Yes, they do.
So if it works for you, it works for you. It doesn't have to be the only thing you do. But hey, if you get them in the door, get the asses in the seats, and then say, by the way, here's the rest of the menu. You know, sushi has a lot of flavors.
So when exactly did this little journey of yours start?
For me, it was back in like 2006, 2007 when this was all brand new. According to my Podomatic page, we've been a member there since 2006. So yeah, a long time. Very much a hobby for most of that time. And the first group that, the sort of smoking pot, figuring out we like to make funny voices and sketches, that only lasted for so long before, people decided they were too busy for it, whatever. And I actually wound up joining a different group based out of Chicago, which got me more into the Comic-Con scene. That was the first group that I was brought in specifically to talk about Fringe and Game of Thrones and American Horror Story. And then we would go to Comic-Cons and have a table there and then kind of branch out and try to get interviews. That was the first time I started interviewing celebrities. And then I realized, like, oh shit, that's what I should be doing with Hollow 9. I should be bringing it back online and doing this, going to Comic-Cons, talking to the people who make the stuff that we love to talk about and get some of the sort of the story from their perspective. And, a lot of the things is always, what's it like for you guys watching the stuff you've made, knowing that, we watch it going, oh man, I've been waiting for like years to find out what happens to Freddy next. And meanwhile, they're like, I couldn't fucking wait to be done with this goddamn project because I had to reinvent the wheel 12 times. And I hope you liked it. You know what I mean? I love those stories. So, it became a little bit of that, still talking about movies. And then we kind of moved into audio drama as well, because I was a big fan of like The Shadow. My grandma used to play The Shadow for me back in the day.
Well, then I have an important question. How come you haven't interviewed me?
Well, I think we are actually supposed to do that at New Jersey Horror Con.
That's a question. Okay, so
that is a good one right there.
That segues into my next question. What is your relationship with New Jersey Horror Con? And at the last one, I believe I had 2 Project Louder reps and Mick at the convention roaming around. So I don't even know how you guys didn't like.
Yeah, I think Drew might have even tried to kind of throw a Hail Mary from Scotland during the weekend too. Oh, and boy. It was like we actually had people lined up. I almost had to turn away that news and entertainment crew that they got really bitchy about me doing that, to be honest. I was just like, these guys came before you. I got to talk to them. But yeah, my relationship with New Jersey Horror Con was that really it was just the first horror con I had ever gone to. And I went as press the first couple of years just by myself. And then I decided, you know what? It'd be cool if I had all my gear with me and had a place to set that up. So I guess I should start getting a table there. And now we are actually one of their lifetime sponsors. Wait a
minute. Right outside of the, hold on. Right outside of the door, the weird year that they split the sale.
2019.
The last one, right? That was the last one they did.
The last one before the world ended. Yes.
I know. Right as you came outside of the door for the for us, that was the people signing autographs. You were directly across from the door, weren't you?
We were right across the door. We were next to the ramp that led to Charlie Sheen and Carmen Electra.
Right. You were right. Yeah. Oh,
yeah. We were the ones making a lot of noise.
Now, wait a minute, because you kept coming up all the time. All the time, you'd send somebody over to me.
Yeah, my co-pilot.
And you say, "Oh, listen, we're gonna. I need you to come over," and I don't know who this is. I have no idea. Says, well, I need you to come over, and she like it was a woman, right?
Yeah.
She would literally look at her phone and she'd go, could you come over in like 37 minutes?
Yeah, because she had a list of all the people that had been like, all right, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like,
yeah, okay. And then she would say, and then she would be back in 30 minutes. Saying, oh, that isn't going to work. And I'm like,
yeah, we play the game like we're really important. Yeah.
And this went on for 3 days. It went on for 3 days, and the weird thing about it was there was a guy right across from you, like this way, from because you were in front of the bathrooms. He was on the other side of the bathrooms. And one time I walked over and she was like, oh, no, we're doing that. And I went over and I interviewed with him.
So we lost you, man.
I interviewed with him for like 45 minutes and I had him rolling. He was laughing. And then I went back and as I'm going by, she's
No, not right now.
No.
Is that when Leslie Easterbrook was sitting at the table? I know that was the one where we were all very like, oh my God, everybody like, chill out.
You know what? I have no idea, but I just went back over to my table and the whole thing, nothing ever happened over there. I was like, okay, well,
my bad, man.
Because you know what? I'm a great fucking interviewer. I really am.
I'm obviously seeing how much of a mistake this was and apologizing on air. And but thank you for still having me on.
Unbelievable.
Luckily, you'll have a chance.
No, I brought that guy back on my show. I can't even believe this has happened.
It would be a New Jersey Horror Con event.
Oh,
yeah, we'll make it right. We'll make it right. We even lost a viewer over that, man. Jeez. I watched the count. Someone's like, really? That happened? Fuck this. I'm not watching that.
God,
this guy.
It's Saturday. I'm surprised anybody's watching.
Yeah,
weekends are dead.
So is the world, though, right? Yeah, what is everybody going out and doing? Nothing. They should be sitting home watching this.
They're killing themselves. You should go into that. Yeah, no. That poor Gilligan's Island. Those poor people. Thinking back to Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Hey, they're making a second one.
I was going to say, I just saw a headline that
I just saw that.
Either he's up for it or is it actually happening?
Listen, I have to tell you something. Here I am. I've made horror films and I literally make them in my sleep. I can make them in my sleep. I do often. And yet, my favorite films are just really weird popular things. Galaxy Quest is one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
It is a film that and The Fifth Dimension I can pick up at any point.
The Fifth Element, you mean?
The Fifth Element I can pick up at any point.
Mm-hmm.
And it just start right back in.
It's the Chris Tucker character, isn't it?
It
Man, I remember that movie.
Wait, that was his cane.
The microphone.
You got the wrong idea there. You really did.
I remember that looked like it was going to be such an action movie when that was first. When that was new, they promoted that like it was going to be another hardcore Bruce Willis Die Hard type action movie.
They fucked up. They fucked up the advertisement of that so bad.
Yeah.
And then they invited invited and I heard this for sure is they invited the reviewers in and they told them that we were going to get you all drunk and then they didn't.
Oh, they didn't get him drunk or they didn't invite him in?
They didn't get them drunk.
That was the mistake.
And they also did. It was in LA, and they had like this one screening for like and I had heard it's legendary. It's like they didn't pay for parking, and they were promised that because I guess the studio had already tried. They didn't understand it. The studio didn't get it at all. Right. They literally Luc Besson like wow, like you hired Luc Besson.
Well, they wanted the professional. They wanted the professional in space.
Yeah, what I mean? They wanted and they got a bright orange chick and right?
Supermodel. It was like a cavalcade of supermodels playing one-offs and extras.
Right.
Exactly. It was so weird. Everything about it was so like David Lynch.
Weird. and the thing is it was obviously a prosthetic beetle, right? They just didn't get it, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is the biggest song, the biggest music in the whole fucking thing is opera. Not only that, but it's a mean fucking opera, right? Come on,
not humanly possible to sing opera.
Impossible to sing. There's just there was no scene that any studio exec or reviewer could rest their laurels on, right? And so I'm working in town and literally didn't hear a thing about it. Right. And then when I did, it was getting panned. Like, okay. And it was like one of the first films that I actually got as a tape.
Oh,
I rented it. Well, I'm going to check out that, Fifth Element thing, as a tape, back, VCR. And then I was fucking pissed. I was like, oh, whoa. This is amazing. What's wrong with you people?
It was an art film. It was an art film at the time that mainstream wasn't ready for art films starring Bruce Willis with a gun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Galaxy Quest, nobody understood that.
Yeah. I think, I mean, my dad was a Trekkie, may he rest in peace. So it was sort of like having that as the backdrop. You could see from a mile away what they were doing. And I feel like there was a certain element where it may not have quite worked for people who weren't as familiar with the life of Star Trek. And that was also before I was familiar with conventions too. So, that's a whole new element.
The thing is the best, it's always the best humor works as an in joke.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing about it was it was like a second level inside joke.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, the scenes of having a bunch of kids sitting around going through like
blueprints,
the blueprints, and the turn of the century, graphics and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that they actually went that direction.
Yeah.
And let it roll was really amazing.
I mean, you got the commentary on, well, why was this even written into the episode? This is just stupid. And they're like, it doesn't serve any technical purpose on the ship. They just put it in there for it to be an obstacle.
Right, exactly. Like, that was yes. I hate this scene.
Yeah, whoever wrote it should be shot. The fact too that an alien culture found a way to make all this fake shit actually real. Like just from watching them, like how you came up with a way to steer a spaceship by watching me do this.
It's by that it was documentary. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're historical files.
Historical files. You think that? Do you think that that there are 13 people stranded on an island?
Like all those poor people, everybody on the ship lowers their heads. Like, we'll do the Mokhtar stealth haze. Like I figured out how to do your Spock shit in real life, and they're like, no, we don't know how to do it, man. We came up with this shit, and we don't know how to do it. That would be frustrating as hell. Where you're like, wait a minute, what?
Just great. Even today, even with the bad graphics and everything else,
Yeah.
I absolutely love that it was just the second level end, and and it had come out about the time that I went to my first convention as
after the Awakening.
I actually went to be on a what do they call it when you get up and you speak?
A panel.
I just went right out of my head. I went out to talk on a panel.
Yeah.
In LA, because let's face it, really, LA didn't really have any. What is it known for as far as conventions? It's not. I mean,
right.
Except the one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's in San Diego, and that one is in San Diego. The thing is this was like one in the worst part of town.
Oh, shit.
Like at the old Olympia Arena, and oh man, I went down there for the panel, and just about then was when I went down for the Fantastic Four.
Oh, nice.
The Roger Corman's version.
Yeah. The one and only that should have been done at this point. You're right. I've seen them try this shit a couple times, and I'm like, no.
Look, you know, the great thing is we did that for Roger Corman, $1 million, which is actually $75,000 and change.
Is that like what Bowfinger is based on? Every movie costs $2,841.72.
100%. I was there. I know. I actually cleaned out my garage on that show. You absolutely saw everything that was in my garage. And the thing is so that was about the time that came out. And I was like, I just had my first convention experience, which didn't happen again until like 2000 and something. But of course, I was there kind of from the different point of view, you know.
Right.
But I got that very same feeling. That's what are all these people?
And especially that it's in a rough part of town. Have you ever been to the one in Atlanta, the Dragon Con? It's like the convention itself is inside all these like 4- and 5-star hotels that most of them are connected by sky bridges and walkways, but it's notorious for at night. You know, when people are walking from those hotels to the hotels that are in the immediate area that are a little bit more affordable. I have friends talked about being tracked where they noticed people on both sides of the street coordinating, like tracking them to the hotel. And I'm like, see, that is where this shit gets to be like, it might not be worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about that.
And I hate to bring this up, but you know, the time to get them is when they're going there because they've all got cash.
Yeah, right.
I got that sweet con money.
The sweet Jimmy.
Oh, you get me wasted and you want my lightsaber that I just paid all that money for? Fine. Good luck fencing this shit.
Right.
Yeah, right. Speak to them in Klingon.
That's all he'll say over there in the corner, man. I don't know what the fuck is with that guy.
Oh man, but the convention world is pretty interesting. It definitely has its own kind of energy. It's worth checking out. It's just how deep do you want to get in, you know? And I feel like it's very hard for me, having gone, my first experiences were as press, so there was not like a lot of privilege, but just a little bit of getting around longer lines. There's a press area to go escape to and get coffee instead of having to just be in the press with all the other people like shoulder to shoulder trying to move. But you know, if you really want to like meet somebody or you really want to see one of these celebs in person and you've never had that experience before, you know, it is the place to do it. So it's kind of maybe worth the trek through hell to get there.
That's why we're there. We're there for you.
But New Jersey Horror Con has its own vibe too, though. You know what I mean? It's a much more of a chill vibe. I feel like.
Yeah, New Jersey was like I went back up and did it this year. You know,
yeah.
The what do they call it? The
market, the horror market. Yeah, it's like a one-day flea market
or a sideshow marketplace.
Yeah, the sideshow marketplace. It wasn't too bad, but it was certainly weird and hard to get your head around.
So you mean with the social distancing and the masks and everything, or?
Yeah. Well, the masks I don't care about. I mean, but the social distancing is just hard to it's hard to get used to. I mean, because like for instance, I don't know if you've ever been to like I did a lot of West Coast ones.
Yeah,
and I have not done that many East Coast before the pandemic hit.
Right.
But the West Coast, some like there was the Rose Con in Portland. It's huge. I mean, I was at that one, and it is literally you ask yourself, why is it that there's nobody going this way in front of me? They're all going that way. And then you get out there and you try and get out into the aisle and go the other way, and it doesn't work.
Right.
You literally go where the people go.
Yeah.
You can't go the other way.
You're a floating blood cell, and that is where the blood is taking you.
It is exactly like that. I mean, I kept going down. I kept going down to see Robert, and I'd hang there for a while, and I'd hang with him for a while, and then I'd come back, and it would be like the trip to him was about 37 seconds.
Yeah.
And the trip back was about an hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like, holy shit. Because
it's rough.
Because the best way to go, I found out, was to literally exit the building.
Yeah, and then come back in, right?
And come back in again.
Yeah, I haven't been to San Diego, but I've been to New York, and that's the East Coast one that rivals San Diego in numbers. Yeah. And there have been a couple times where I've been on the show floor and not having really experienced a lot of claustrophobia in my life, but all of a sudden feeling like, you know, if something were to happen right now,
maybe it's a better idea than I thought it was.
Yeah, like I'm kind of like this.
You could always be the asshole kid who's it's his birthday, and you have a guy on FaceTime, and you're just walking through bullying all the handlers because and then Mick's on the phone yelling at people, "Get me to Robert."
Yeah, right.
Because
that's never happened to me, right?
Yeah, no, you've got to tell him that story because he would love it.
Okay, so my birthday at Monster Mania.
Ooh.
Robert Englund was there. There was an 8-hour fucking line that stretched outside.
Is this the one in Baltimore?
No, this is the one in New Jersey. Cherry Hill.
Okay. I've only been to the Maryland version. I've never been
upstairs in the VIP signing, right? Mm-hmm. And there's people the whole way down the steps, outside and everything. And Mick's like, "You have the book to give him, right?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, Nancy knows, so Robert knows." He's like, "Just get me to a handler." So I walk in and I'm waiting. The dude's like, "What are you doing in here?" He's like, "You don't have a band."
He's holding me on his phone.
So I called Mick and I was like,
"They're not letting me in."
So Mick's like, "Let me talk to him." So I hand him to this guy. He's like, "Don't go to the guy that kicked you out. Go to the guy next to him so I can undermine him." And I was like, nice. "Okay." So we do. And the dude's like, "Don't get me fired, man. Don't get me fired. I don't want this to happen." And so we go to Robert's handler right next to him.
I was playing the talking head.
Yeah.
So Robert,
how dare you not let my guy in?
Robert's handler looks at the phone, and then Robert takes my phone and is like, "Stop, Mick!" And then like holds up his phone, and everybody's like, "Look, it's Mick!" And we go, "Hi, Mick!"
That's awesome.
They have their introductions, and then Mick introduces me, and I give him a book and everything, and then Robert just goes crazy over Mick's book. And
nice.
It was a crazy cool experience, and we fucked up everyone's day. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what?
We shortcutted a 7-hour line.
It's not the first or last time it's ever going to happen.
Oh, no.
They know what they're getting into when they pull this shit.
He moved closer, so things are just going to get worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I hang out with G. Tom Mack a little bit. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the guy who did the theme to the Lost Boys, and he's at a lot of these events. And we were at the Monster Mania, not Monster Mania, what was it? Yeah, it was Monster Mania in Baltimore. And Robert was there with who else was he there with? But anyway, he kind of walked by and said hi, and you could see a lot of the people who were dressed as Freddy trying to think that this is the moment when he's sitting him down to dinner. I'm going to run in there in my full Freddy costume, and I'm going to finally like make his day. And he just kind of looks over, barely acknowledging that he looks at them and goes right back to dinner and talking to whoever else was at the table. And you're just kind of like, yeah, dude, I could have told you from over here. That was the worst possible time. It's like you kind of get the full range of like the super fan idiots versus the super fan normals. And it's kind of like, hopefully there's more on the normal side than the idiot side, but there's always someone who's going to fuck shit up for everybody.
Yeah.
I found especially when they start saying no photography, you know what I mean? Like when there's like barriers, like from this point on, no photography, there's always that one guy jumping up, trying to get the shots with his phone, and security's like, dude, these guys are going to leave and shut the whole thing down if you don't knock this off.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Well, it's funny too, though. Now that we're talking about cons, have you ever heard of the con crud? The term con crud?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think I am almost starting to think maybe this was the pandemic testing ground to see, like, no social distancing. People are automatically coming home with a cold or the flu. So how do we? That's like this to me. Is going to be the most interesting thing to see getting back into it as things get eased. I mean, this is the vaccine mandatory crowd. You know what I mean? It's like. Yeah. It's got to be.
And I gotta say, I keep wondering, even from my point of view, because I went and did the marketplace and did a tour up through the Philly area and New York and New Jersey for about 3.5 weeks. And it was a completely different world.
Yeah.
it really was.
It's a barren wasteland up here.
Sorry, what can we do?
I have to say though, Philadelphia.
Here we go.
Was
it's always sunny.
I apologize, everybody.
Okay, you apologize. Philadelphia is a shithole.
There we go.
I had a feeling that was coming.
Yeah,
that's kind of why some of us live in Pittsburgh, right? Like,
yeah. It's great. The great thing about it though is, and this is the weird thing is I think that Philadelphia is a shithole, and the first people who will absolutely admit that it is a shithole
or Philadelphians
are people from Philadelphia that have just cleaned their car out onto the parking lot.
Yeah.
Swept everything into the parking lot. Get on. Yeah, this place is a shithole.
Yeah, that's usually how it works, though.
Yeah, it really is.
I shat everywhere. That's why it's a shithole.
That's
but you didn't see that part, and I'm the only one allowed to do that. So fuck you. Find your own place. Make your own shithole. This is mine.
So, hey, listen, man, you've been great to have on.
Well, thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
So TJ is completely wrong.
Was there worry?
No, Mick just likes to get me all fired up.
I was just trying to piss him off. I've spent the last. I told him that I was going to bring you on and talk, and I have to admit this. Okay, so yesterday,
just do it.
I love this.
I was trying to be a dick. I was trying to. So I said, yeah, no. He says, so who is this guy? And I go, well, he's got this network, and Drew recommended him. I said, but I really, I think that he's really a lot like I am politically, and I'm gonna have my first totally political show, and we're just gonna fucking lay it out. And he shit a brick.
He's like, dude, you're gonna put us on all kinds of lists, man. Are you sure you want to do this? These guys don't forget their enemies, you know what I mean?
He sent me a list of fucking memes that was dead cold. I was like, okay. This morning I call him back and say, hey TJ, how you? God damn it, were you fucking with me last night? Were you fucking with me last night?
It is interesting to be in a time where we just watched, the Capitol be assaulted, and that's not the only thing everybody's talking about. The rest of us, let's still do our movie shit.
Some of us want to be a place to escape from all that.
True.
I mean, you could go turn on CNN and watch that all day. You can turn on here and watch Mick talk about some crazy stories and some KY jelly, and that's where this place is, and that's the realm we operate within.
But that one, the CNN one, is starting to resemble the KY jelly one, though. Is the problem? Right. There's a lot of KY jelly being thrown around all over.
I could say the day you see Fat Jesus and Skinny Satan on CNN, be afraid.
Yeah. Well, no, we just have to. We'll write the horror movies about it, and then I'll do the podcast following the production. We'll make it work for us.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, listen, I want to thank you for coming on. You've been a lot of fun,
dude. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever Fat Jesus can serve you.
Well, I think we're going to be sharing some airtime in a certain audio drama that's coming out by a certain friend of ours.
Right. Yeah, provided that he's actually well enough to edit it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing some talk on the wind that things are starting to actually cut together. So, really? I think we have some stuff to look forward to there.
That's great. Wait, what was the name?
Orchid Grove Asylum.
Orchid Grove Asylum.
Sounds like a Drew thing.
We did. It was a Drew thing, and I did my vocal part and sent it back to him, and the great thing was I kept saying, well, do you need me any changes or anything like that? And he goes, great, and I think it's because he was sick.
Yeah. We're gonna get this very, very Lynchian show that we're all like, I didn't even know I did this. I mean, I know I sent my stuff in, but he used all the takes I thought for sure he wouldn't use. So I don't know what this is gonna be.
Yeah, it should be really, really interesting.
I'm looking forward to it. He's been that show. The first season was so much fun, and just the script was so good for the second one that I can't wait to hear it.
Okay, so TJ, I hand it over to you.
Okay, guys, so I say every week, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Rabbit Hole Podcast. For more audio-only content, more video shows, head on over to projectlouder.net, your source for pop culture, and so much more. So this is your host with the motherfucking most, TG Bowser, the Lady Arouser, signing off.
Bye, people. Thank you.